Hi, everyone, and welcome to Channel 8's coverage of high school wrestling. Gordy Deal alongside Bob Cancro. Rahway visiting East Brunswick. Rahway with a mark of 2-0, and East Brunswick with a mark of 1-2. And Bob, Rahway coach Fred Stuber says no matter how good his team is year in and year out, always has a tough time here at EB.
Well, that's a coach talking, Gordy, because Rahway comes in here, one of the top teams in the area, always a tough club. Fred Stuber's been there for 16 years, and he's built a Union County powerhouse.
First match, getting a look at 103-pound class. Keith Richings against Gene Ronkowitz, the sophomore from Rahway.
Ronkowitz comes in with a 4-1 record. He won the hometown tournament, the Rahway Christmas tournament over the holidays. He's got a crossface in right now on Keith. Keith, who is a sophomore for East Brunswick, been in the wrestling program for many years here, working through the rec program as they go out of bounds. Tony gets in on a single leg, or the Keith does. When I officiate, guys like this always drive me crazy, these long, lanky guys, because you never know where those legs are going to end up. And Keith is a pretty experienced wrestler, so he's ready to throw legs in at any time. He's got a whizzer in right now. And they're still in a neutral. Might hear the call of referee Ken Burnaby.
So back to the center for Ronkowitz and Richings. 30 seconds to go in the first period.
Ronkowitz has that front headlock, trying to spin around behind. Good counters by Keith. Keith may not like it, but I'll mention he's got a younger brother, Corey, who's in the rec program here in East Brunswick. I guess if they're wrestling out here on TV, they don't want to hear anything about their brothers, but try to mention a few names if you can. And his younger brother also is a very skilled young wrestler.
Rahway with a couple of brothers as well. We'll see Jameel Frazier at 130 and his brother Al Tariq Frazier at 140, a couple of juniors. And when you talk about brothers in Rahway, certainly can't go without mentioning the Garay brothers.
You have to go up top to the big guys, because last year, of course, state champion at heavyweight Antonio Garay, and also a high school national champion as well, but he left behind, he didn't leave the pantry empty by any means. You have his brother Dan and his brother John, who are also big guys, as we have no score in the first period, and Keith going in the down position. Both of those kids up there, Dan and John, him with a combined 11-0 record, so the Garays certainly leave their mark in Rahway.
Fred Stuber told me before this match started, he said, it's kind of the unwritten rule in Rahway. You always have to have a Garay on your roster somewhere. And then he told me Dan and John at 215 and heavyweight are not related. I said, not even cousins? He said, well, they're cousins, but not by blood. I said, just by sport? He said, yeah, by sport.
Okay.
Said, okay.
That doesn't escape for Keith Richings as they go out of bounds, and the point was awarded. So we're back on our feet, where in the first period, not an awful lot happened. A little off balance there. Keith recovers quickly, though.
Minute 32 to go here, second period. 1-0 Ronkowitz.
They're feeling each other out a lot. The shots that they've taken have not been really penetrating. They get a good one in there now. He's got a single leg, and again, Keith with a whizzer. Pressuring the head. Not giving the control yet. No points yet. And as somebody who wears stripes, that's a pretty good call right now, although he's pretty close. Should be coming up. He's still got that leg. Keith still has that right leg of Ronkowitz, which prevented the control, and he's now fighting back. He's got the singles, changing into a double. Good recovery by Keith Richings as he gets the takedown. Nice maneuver there.
Now, let me correct myself. It was 1-0 Richings before, not Ronkowitz, and now it is 3-0 Keith on top.
Just about 30 seconds to go in the second period. Keith trying to drive that half.
How much of the match would you normally say is time taken for guys to feel each other out?
Well, you usually take about the first 30 seconds to sort of really see what you're doing in that first period when you're on your feet. Once you get down to the mat, you're just going at it tooth and nail. It really shouldn't be that much. But again, if not much occurred in that first period, then if you're on your feet again in the second, as they were at the beginning here, you're really right back to where you start from. Obviously, nobody had a good sense of what the other one was doing and didn't feel real comfortable taking a shot. And we were right back where we started from.
End of 2 periods, 3-0. Keith Richings leading Gene Ronkowitz in the 103-pound class. Wrestling is, too, really one of those sports where it's very fraternal. You can tend to see the same guys all 4 years if you're around long enough.
You see kids, I mean, wrestling is something that you either love or you hate. We have a little blood time now. It's for Keith. It looks like either something on his mouth or lip. He's going to spit out some blood there, but he should be okay. The brothers, and when you say brothers, it really is. You have families, obviously, but you also see kids who just stay in the sport literally forever. They love the sport. They start wrestling when they're 7 or 8 years old, and I've seen some of these little munchkins rolling around, and you're teaching them which foot is the left and right. And they're still here now as sophomores and juniors and seniors. They know each other. They go to summer camps together. They go to clinics together. It's interesting because when you go to a tournament, you figure, here we are competitors, we're on the opposite side, and yet they'll share ideas on the side, they'll talk with each other, they'll show each other moves. So it really is a fraternity that keeps kids in there, and they do share a great deal.
And except for period number 3. Let's look at Keith Richings there with the Bears on his back in the green and white. And Gene Ronkowitz from Rahway in the black and red. Keith leads at 3-0.
He's trying to pull that arm through the crotch and then run that half, which he's got. He's got the crotch right, and he's trying to try the half. Now he goes to a far side cradle, or near side cradle, I should say. A little bit high. If the JV bout was any indication, we're always a very physical team, very aggressive. But Keith doing a nice job controlling the match at this point.
Minute 15 to go in the 3rd period. Still 3-0. Keith Richings on top. Physically and on the scoreboard, I guess I should say.
Absolutely. Almost out of bounds and almost a neutral position there as they roll out. Good balance on both wrestlers.
Less than a minute to go.
You know, 3-0 lead can evaporate very quickly, so Keith really has to maintain some good control, and obviously he is working for a fall, get some more points up there. I was thinking about that myself. Keith has been shooting. Keith has been working for the pin. Not much action. A warning for stalling against Gene Ronkowitz. He has not done very much on the bottom. Bernie been making the call. For people who don't watch wrestling very much, they probably don't think a lot has been going on out there, but the kids are working very hard. There's a lot of intensity out there, controlling a man on the mat and having that, if you're on the bottom, just carrying that other man's weight on top of you.
19 seconds to go. Keith Richings protecting that 3-0 lead. Tossing Ronkowitz around.
I heard a little knock on the wood out there.
That unmistakable screech of skin on the hardwood.
Oh, that's only
more common in basketball.
You don't say hardwood in basketball. I mean, in wrestling. Wrestlers don't want to talk about what's underneath the mat.
That's right. 10 seconds to go for Richings, looking to get East Brunswick off on a good start.
Well, they do need a good start. This is going to be a tough match for the Bears. Good finish by Keith Richings with a 3-0 victory. Keith Richings, sophomore, picks up the first win for the Bears at 103 pounds and a 3-0 lead over Rahway.
Good start for East Brunswick, as we mentioned at the top, coming in with a mark of 1-2 on the season. Rahway coming in unbeaten at 2-0. Richings' individual mark now 7-3 on the season. Took third place in the Petty tournament and fifth in the 100 and Central tournament.
And the Bears themselves took a third in that, as a team in the Petty tournament, so that was a nice finish because there haven't been a lot of team titles coming the Bears' way in the last couple of years, so I know Coach Glenn Pazinka would like to get something up there. Tony Ruperto for East Brunswick at 112 against Blake Jackson for the Indians. Jackson comes in at 5-2, a sophomore and a champion in the Rahway Christmas tournament. Gets a quick 2-point takedown on a single leg ankle pick.
District champ last year.
When he won that district title last year, he finished the season with an 18-9 record, and 17 of those 18 wins were by pin. So this is a very aggressive wrestler for the Indians. He's got point. I think I thought Ken Burnaby had signaled back points, but I guess not. Just that it was a back and forth. Rahway likes that front headlock, that chancery move. Ruperto trying to back out there for the escape. Still a 2-0 lead for Blake Jackson.
What is Tony looking to do at this point, spending so much time on the bottom?
Well, right now he's going to try to get out of that cradle that Blake Jackson just threw him in, but that is not going to happen. With 24 seconds remaining, a 136 pin for Blake Jackson of Rahway over Tony Ruperto. Didn't get a chance to answer that question. Tony was spending a lot of time down there, and when you stay still too long, the opportunity to throw a cradle in rears its ugly head, and that's exactly what happened in that bout. 6 points for the Indians at 112 pounds, and that takes us to the 119-pound bout. Nick Yanazzo, talk about brothers. He'll be followed by his brother Chris at 125. Nick Yanazzo against Rob Burnett, sophomore against senior. Burnett comes in with a 2-2 record for the Indians. He was a third-place finisher in the districts a year ago in District 11. He needs to work a lot of the upper body, that is with that chancery that I was talking about, around the head, putting a lot of pressure on the head. And if you're a wrestler, if you're getting that head pushed down or being twisted around, that's a very uncomfortable situation, and it throws you off your game. Nick still has that. He still has a leg in there, but the control is given by Ken Burnaby on the call. And a 2-0 lead for Rob Burnett.
Burnett's got a bit of a height advantage too over Nick. How much, if any, of an advantage is that for him?
Well, I think it's very important if you like to throw in legs, and a lot of wrestlers who are that tall like to do that. He's very lean as well. So if he's a leg wrestler, that's a big advantage. And also when you're trying to control a man and you've got to work that top and bottom at the same time, and they're stretched out, it's very difficult to do that. He's got a lot of leverage because he can throw those legs out, and that makes it tough to finish off a double leg, for example, or on a switch. And he can certainly wrap you up, as he's doing very well there, following around on Nick's sit-outs. But it can also be a disadvantage if you drape yourself too far over the wrong way and you don't have good control of those hips. I've been on both sides of that, believe me.
But Burnett leads this one 2-0. 45 seconds to go here in period number 1.
Nick is getting his legs out. He's not controlling legs very well. Burnett is not. And so Nick is able to move quite a bit. That's a lot of energy he's expending without necessarily a lot of result right now. Just about 30 seconds remaining here in the first period. He's trying to run that crotch ride. That's a Turk as he throws that left leg between the legs of Nick. That's where you have advantage as a long wrestler too.
So your physique at times, I guess, can determine the style that you wrestle.
Oh, absolutely. If you're real long like that, your center of gravity sits up a little bit higher, so you've got to be careful how you control it. He's got Chris locked up there, rocked him over, but there were 2 back points that were awarded there. Enough control as he tipped him over on his back.
So Burnett up now 4-0 as we head to period 2. This is the 119-pound match.
Nick Iannazzo chooses neutral as he gets choice in the second period, down 4-0. Good penetration and the takedown for Nick. That was very nice move, very smooth, very quick.
2 points for Iannazzo. Still 4-2 Burnett.
Now Nick just threw legs in on a cross body, so he's got to be careful because, again, with that long body that Burnett has, he's got to maintain that control, keep his hips up. Be careful he doesn't fall off to the side, as he's a little close to doing right now. He's slipping off, and that gives Burnett an opportunity to kind of come out that back door. He's got the reversal.
6-2 now Burnett, with a minute to go, second period.
Nick tried to switch there, could not pull it off. He's got the arm barred across Nick's back. Coming up, Nick's not far from as I said, not far from an escape, but he had the reversal there. Not very good control by Burnett on that.
Burnett jumps right back in. It's now 6-4. Rahway still on top here.
Nick has been pretty aggressive once he's gotten on top of trying to throw in a half Nelson or a power breakdown.
Well, the sophomore Iannazzo, I think, certainly giving Burnett, the senior, all he can handle.
Absolutely. Chris and his brother Nick and his brother Chris are both very strong competitors. They're tough kids. They too have been around wrestling for a long time through the rec program. Their dad is a coach, was a coach in Edison for a number of years. Worked with the rec program here in East Brunswick as well, Jeff. Big fan of wrestling, and you know it's always tough as a parent when you're also a coach. You have mixed feelings because you want to be critical as the coach, but you also want to be supportive as the parent. That's not an easy task. And you know, Fred Stuber has his own son wrestling for him at 135, although it's a question of whether he's going to be in the lineup tonight. And Fred was very quick to give me a lot of information about his son Sean, but well deserved, and you know, praise for the young man.
So we start period 3. Rob Burnett from Rahway still on top of Nick Iannazzo from EB, 6-4. We've got a good one here.
Burnett took the bottom position. Always easier to score points from underneath, and it really puts the pressure on Nick. And he's got him turned. He's going to. I'm not sure if he got points. No points were awarded there. That was close. Nick has to get the back points now. At this point, Burnett could stall out if he doesn't do anything, but he's got to be careful not to get called for that stalling. You know, Ken Burnaby has been through wrestling for a long time. He's wrestled on the state, he's refereed on the state level, so he may be quick to call stalling. So at this point, Burnett has to keep moving, and Nick is caught. And there it is. There's a call for stalling right now, a warning on Burnett.
Now the crowd's starting to get into this. They can sense what Iannazzo was doing here and that he's really close to something big.
Well, maybe more than that, they can sense what Burnett is not doing. He's not really moving a lot. In fact, for a moment there, he just, you know, held his position, held his ground. Now wrestlers can do that occasionally. Sometimes they want to catch their breath. But you can't get called for stalling and doing that. You can't look too obvious. And at that point, I think Rob may have been.
Less than a minute to go.
Nick is going to cut him loose for 1 point. Give him the 1 with the opportunity, hopefully, of getting 2, and then maybe turning him right off the takedown. He's in on the legs, and there's those long legs that Burnett has. His head is caught down there. They may call a stalemate rather than let's go too much farther. And that is the call by the referee. You get in a situation like that where neither wrestler can really improve their position, rather than let them just hang in there for too long, call the stalemate, let them start over again. And that's certainly to both wrestlers' advantage, certainly to Nick's. He's got an angle. He cut him and got the takedown. A quick escape again.
Iannazzo down by 2 with 15 seconds to go.
He got a quick takedown after he cut Burnett loose. Then let him go again, hoping for the same thing. 12 seconds to go. He's calling stalling on Burnett, backing up and giving a point to Nick. He called the second stall against Rob Burnett and gave a point to Nick Iannazzo. Down by 1, just 4 seconds. He's pushing him off. He could easily call it again if he wanted to. That's a tough one, though.
Now, EB head coach Glenn Pazinko certainly wanted it, but he's not going to get it here as Burnett edges out Nick Iannazzo by the score of 8-7. That puts Rahway up 9-3.
Good match by both wrestlers. Nick wrestled a really tough match, just as you said, Gordon. A senior against a sophomore, and the sophomore gave him all he could handle. A 1-point victory for Rob Burnett. Gives the Indians a 6-point lead as we go into the 125-pound class, and the other half of the household comes up for the Bears. Chris Iannazzo, the junior at 125 pounds, against senior Louis Ott for the Indians.
Been a good year for Chris so far, too. As you mentioned, junior, 7-3 on the season. First place in the Petty tournament, 2-time region qualifier. Also the kicker on the football team.
Yes, he is. As with a lot of sports, that junior year is the year when kids really hit their stride. And I think Chris has come in here and he really feels comfortable in what he's doing. He's worked very hard. He's got his knee wrapped. He's had some problems in the past. Going up against a pinner in the form of Louis Ott, 6-2. All of those. Okay, I just lost track of something here. They forfeited at 125, East Brunswick did, and they're moving Iannazzo up to 130. I wasn't paying too much attention to that myself. And maybe we can get some information from the table, because I'm not sure what we have here. Chris is definitely going to wrestle now at 130 pounds.
Yeah, Louis Ott, as soon as the referee signaled that he was a winner, ran right over to the sideline and took a singlet off. So.
If in fact that was Ott, I want to make sure. I'm not sure who because we don't know the faces of the kids from Rahway.
Oh, that was Ott, actually. I remember him coming out of the mat.
Okay.
Actually had a chance to coach Louis Ott's brother, Lucas, who went to Bishop R High School. Now, when I was the varsity soccer coach there, I actually coached Lucas Ott.
Okay.
I think the Otts are a family of about 9. So another family of wrestling.
Well, Jamil Frazier, again, families again. Jamil Frazier coming in here at 130 pounds, so they're making some moves in the strategy department. Jamil Frazier here at 130.
And for the record is now Rahway 15 and EB 3.
Glenn Pazinko said they were hurting a little bit, and it may have been that he just felt it was not advantageous to put out somebody at 130, rather at 125 for himself. He said a couple of his kids are sick, so they're not quite as strong as they would like to be coming into a match of this caliber. But again, Chris being the kind of kid he is, tough wrestler, willing to do something for the team, moving up a weight class to 130. Against the junior Jamil Frazier. A little bit of aggression there on both wrestlers' parts. A lot of pushing around, a lot of little pops going in there. You talked about a height advantage. Now Chris has the advantage here with Frazier. Frazier a little more stocky. Nice penetration on the double. And the turn for the takedown for Chris Iannazzo.
So Iannazzo up 2-0, 40 seconds to go here in the opening period.
Chris was trying to work for a stack in there, but he's working one-on-one, two-on-one, going for the half. Just 10 seconds remaining in this period. At this point, you don't want to do anything too foolish, lose control. Trying to get that chin snap back.
The end of one with Chris Iannazo on top, 2-0 over Jamil Frazier.
Frazier defers choice, and Chris takes the defense. Again, looking for some points here off the whistle. You can get them off the bottom position. And Frazier will give him a point. He must feel that he can do a better job on his feet, that maybe that takedown was a freak. Didn't cut him loose, though. Maybe just wanted a different position to start with. Okay. Good work by Chris to get that escape. Got the hand control as they went out of bounds. Was able to peel it and break free for the point. So it's a 3-0 lead now for Chris Iannazo here in the second period at 130 pounds. Drops in. They're on the edge of the mat. And just as in football, you can sometimes use the edge of the mat, the sidelines, as to your advantage. Got the points. Now, the rules changed last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, that, and it's a little bit weird because you really could be almost totally out of bounds, but as long as your toes are in bounds, that is the wrestler getting the takedown, you've got control, even though you could be 3 feet outside the circle. And that's exactly what happened with Chris. His toes are still inside. He had the control. It's a good call by the referee.
So about midway through the second period, Chris Iannazo up 5-0 now on Jamil Frazier. Frazier with that much lower center of gravity than Chris Iannazo.
Well, this is just what I was talking about before. We're saying with his brother Nick and Burnett, the difference in size. Chris has very high on the on that single. Good balance by Burnett. Oh, turns him. He's got the takedown. Chris got caught in that one, just came up too high, and that center of gravity paid off, and the long legs of Chris. He came up a little bit, got his hips up too much, and got thrown back. 30 seconds to go in the period.
Chris Iannazo hanging on to that 5-2 lead.
He's got that head locked up. Good pressure and recovery by Chris. He's going to get 3 on the near fall and a reversal, but it doesn't look like he has any back points. Well, the score doesn't reflect it on the board right now, but what I have is 7-5 Chris Iannazo. And we'll see how good my scorekeeping was compared to the half.
I think you're right.
Okay. Well, I can add. It is a 7-5. Good recovery. Good recovery by Chris. He was down there, and it looked like Frazier had him locked up pretty tight, but was able to just literally push him off and roll him over and come out on top. So here in the third period, Frazier takes the bottom position, the defense. Again, looking for some points, down 2 to East Brunswick's junior Chris Iannazo. Well, when you see a kid who's got a 5-0 lead suddenly get turned over like that, your heart goes to your throat. And I'm sure Gwen Pazinko's did. I know his mother's did up in the stands. And she'll love me for saying that if she watches this. See Chris coming outside quite a bit, feeling he must have a little bit of leverage advantage there. And Burnett stepping over that, trying to get control. Chris trying to drive that half. Got to get outside to get a little more pressure on that.
Still 7-5, Chris Iannazo. Minute 15 to go here in the final period.
Chris has that spiral ride with, no, he doesn't have a spiral, I'm sorry. I thought he had something else, I'm sorry. But he's driving that half Nelson from whatever position he's in. He's constantly putting pressure down there. Halfway through the third period, 1 minute to go. Chris trying to bar the left arm and do the stack. Another warning for stalling on Rahway. I almost didn't hear it. Suddenly out of the blue came a scream from the center of the mat.
Yeah, Jamil Frazier obviously in some degree of pain.
Chris had a bar on the left side. I don't know if his arm was twisted somehow. There was nothing illegal about it. Had it in pretty tight. And trying to do that stack, it might have just got caught. Changing the rules this year, Gordon, is that injury time was dropped from a 2-minute total cumulative for the match to 1.5 minutes. A couple of years ago, I think the feeling was that a lot of wrestlers were very simply taking advantage of timeouts when they were tired, when they were gassed, and were just at any time just saying, okay, run the clock, I need some time, and walking off. But they cut it down to 2 minutes last year and limited to 2 timeouts. They've done it again this year, and they've changed it again. Not only do they cut down the length of time for the total amount of time you can take during a timeout to 1.5 minutes, but they've also said that if you take a second timeout, if you continue wrestling, the person who, your opponent, can choose where they want to be on the mat. If they want to be on the top, on the bottom, or neutral. So if you happen to have a good takedown, you can take advantage of that. The idea was to avoid wrestlers really misusing the rule.
They appear to be working on Jamil Frazier's eye as he was on his back.
Okay.
And he appears to be okay. He's ready to go.
No, I just did what I criticize sportscasters for not doing, watching what's going on the mat. I wasn't looking at that. Quick stand up. Chris got to stay behind, get in tight on the hips. Ooh. Wow. He came down pretty hard there.
30 seconds to go. Actually, Frazier's holding that eye again.
That was close to being a forceful drive. We've got back points being counted now by Ken Burnaby. Chris has that stack through the crotch. He's going to have back points with just about 10 seconds to go in the match.
Phil Hasso, the trainer for East Brunswick, telling me now that was a mat burn that Jamil Frazier suffered.
Okay.
2 seconds left, 1, and that's the match. 10-5, Chris Iannazzo takes care of Jamil Frazier.
Well, good finish by Chris Iannazzo. Came back. Got the 3 points for the team, which puts the Bears now down 6-15 on the scoreboard. I don't know why I said it that way.
You're entitled to say it any way you want, as long as you understand who's winning and who's losing. So we move up to 135. Wait to see who they're actually going to call out. We could see the coach's son, Sean Stuber. We could see Jesse Campanelli.
Well, we're going to have to check on that.
My guess is that's Campanelli.
I think it is Campanelli. Jesse Campanelli.
So Campanelli against
I believe that's Sam Mull.
East Brunswick Sam Mull. Campanelli second in the Rahway tournament, just a sophomore. Mull also a sophomore.
Gordon, did you get anything from Fred Stuber, the coach at Rahway, as to why his son is not wrestling? Because I was not aware of any problems or any injuries.
He didn't indicate that to me either.
Okay. Now, Sean Stuber is 3-0 on the season, and one of the top wrestlers certainly on the team.
When the coach is also your dad, you run the risk of several other factors factoring into whether or not you're going to participate.
Oh, absolutely.
So maybe he talked back to him, you know, during school. Hey, you never know. You just never know. Might not be wrestling related.
I was going to say, usually if your dad's the coach, you're going to wrestle no matter what, especially if you say, I don't want to wrestle.
Right.
No, you're going out there. But, you know, Sean Stuber is one of the top wrestlers for the team. He's got a career record of 91-19, so he's certainly not only a top wrestler at Rahway High School, but certainly one of the top wrestlers in the state.
I think we might see Sean Stuber at the next weight.
They could be moving him up, but to meet up with Dave Konigsberg.
Well, 30 seconds to go in the first period here, and right now Campanelli has the lead on Sam Mull, 2-0.
Campanelli hang on to that leg. Still has control, but certainly not not in any great shape there. But Mull has his head down. That's not a hell. He's trying to pop his arm through, and that's what you really want to do, but he's not in a real good position there. But fortunately, the period ends. No further damage for either side.
So Mull defers, and Campanelli will be down. Campanelli leads 2-0 as we start period 2.
And we're talking about the nice Granby roll by Campanelli. He gets the escape. Quick move off the whistle. And we talked about the aggressiveness of some of the of Rahway in general. Campanelli had with a record of 5-2. All 5 of those wins are by pin. Lifts him up off the mat. Got to take him down under control. Did so, but not in great shape there. Still controlled by Campanelli, or rather still in neutral position, I should say. There was a takedown. I lost that.
Campanelli gets 2 points for it. Put him up 5-0 now on Sam Mull. 135-pound weight class. A couple of sophomores going at it here. Minute 5 to go in the second period. 15-6, Rahway on top.
And despite that nice Granby roll at the beginning of the period, you can see they're both sophomores. There's not I mean, there's good polish to some extent, but still a lot of wild and crazy moves and rolls through there that were not really under control that you wouldn't see necessarily with kids who are a little bit older. Go out of bounds with 27 seconds left here in the second period. The Bears trail 15-6 as we're here in the 135-pound weight class. And individually, Sam Mull trails 5-0 to Jesse Campanelli. Another warning for stalling against Rahway. Now, that's something you don't, a team that's this good, it's surprising to see as many stalling calls being made against them. Usually you see a lot of aggressiveness. So to have these stalls being called, Ken Burnaby is trying to keep this match moving, keep it aggressive on both sides. We've had, I guess, about 3 or 4 stalling calls, including one that brought that 119-pound match into a 1-point margin.
2 more points for Campanelli. He's up 7-0 now. 5 seconds to go here in the second period.
Well, obviously the stalling call worked. Got him going.
There's the horn to end period 2. Still 7-0. Jesse Campanelli leading EB's Sam Mull. Mull decides to go neutral here. They'll both stand.
Well, it's a surprising call, unless he just feels he's got something there. He's given up 2 takedowns, so to take position on your feet, unless he's looking for a 5-point move right to his back. Not sure about that strategy. Good penetration and balance by Campanelli there. Shot by Mull, counter by Campanelli. Got to pop that head out. He's got the takedown though, because he's broken him down now flat on his belly. So Sam Mull gets the 2 points. He's now down 7-2 with 1:13 remaining in the third period.
Good job by Mull to hang in there. A minute to go. Puts
the half in. A little bit high on that, though. 50 seconds. And not a lot going on down below. And a stalemate is called, which I would have to say I'm a little bit surprised. When you've got somebody broken down, it wasn't as if neither man could improve their position. Mull had the opportunity to do something with it. Fred Stuber over on the side was saying that he felt Mull had simply locked up the heel to the butt, and that should have been called stalling on Mull. But the referee calling a stalemate instead, starting him over. Again, that shoulder roll, very nicely done by Jesse Campanelli. Gets the escape. That happens partly because you're not working on the legs as well. You're giving them the opportunity to kick those legs free.
So Campanelli adds to his lead. He now is up 8-2, just 15 seconds to go here in the third period.
Well, that big flurry is what Sam Mull needs right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Again, the stalemate called, but it seems to be a moot point at this point.
Well, Campanelli prevails by the score of 8-2. That puts Rahway up now 18-6 as we move on to the 140-pound class. See who Rahway sends out. I think this is Sean Stuber.
Well, he doesn't have a beard like that, so I can't see the family resemblance there.
I think their physiques are similar, I think.
Yes.
So for East Brunswick, getting a look at Dave Koenigsberg, senior, 3-2 this season.
Okay. This is Sean Stuber.
Sean, the district champ last year, second in the region, second in the county. Won the Rahway tournament.
Probably looking at the best wrestler on the team for the Indians. He and Tom Petrusco up at the another weight class up or two. The leaders on this Rahway squad. Very physical, working on that head. Stuber gets the takedown. They pressure the head, they force the twisting and turning. Your head goes down, they spin behind. Dave's headgear came loose, and when there's no significant action, the referee can stop the bout and allow them to straighten that out.
Two 2-0 Stuber here, 54 seconds to go. Period number one, the 140-pound weight class.
Still got that leg. Forward trip. And they're out. Now, seeing the headgear come loose, one of the things I've always wondered about, with all the concern about safety and protection of athletes, and the National Federation has all these standards for football helmets and baseball helmets and the like, and yet there's nothing specific in any standard for headgear. No points are being awarded. A little cross-body throw there. Because you have all kinds of headgear, the halos, the kind that Sean Stuber is wearing, the knit ones. Some are much better than others for protection as well as just staying on your head. It's my editorial about the National Federation and their Rules Committee for right now.
That's the end of the first period. Sean Stuber, 2-0 lead. on Dave Koenigsberg.
Rahway defers their choice, and Dave Koenigsberg takes bottom. Still has that leg, good control. I mean, a couple of times Dave has come up, and Stuber has hung onto that leg and maintained control. Dave has the whizzer in, but he is going to have that used against him. Stuber able to drive that across his body, gets the half in there and turns him. And the fall. At 1:31 remaining in the second period, Sean Stuber with a pin.
That makes it 24-6 Rahway. See if the juggling of the lineup continues for Fred Stuber's club. Well, his son Sean gets the win, improves to 4-0 in the season.
This is certainly not what Glenn wanted. He knew that they were tough. He knew he was hurting a little bit, but I'm sure he was hoping for a little bit lower score as they went into this segment. The Bears are pretty much hitting some of their better wrestlers, young but stronger wrestlers here. As you get into a kid like Matt Kolbeck here at 145 pounds, against
I believe this is Dan Freer from Rahway. Looks like Al Tariq Frazier is going to get bypassed. So Freer, the senior, also won the Rahway tournament over the holidays. Third in the district last year.
Took a second in the Hanover Park tournament as well. He gets the takedown. And Matt Kolbeck, another one of the kids for East Brunswick. He's only a sophomore. He's come through the rec program, so he's got some experience. And here he is in just his sophomore year wrestling varsity. So Glenn Pazinko putting out a fairly young squad, and they're going to make their share of mistakes. But despite giving up a takedown, he's able to come back with a reversal. Nice recovery there. As again, that sophomore-senior matchup, and you kind of expect the senior to have the upper hand. But Matt's a tough competitor. Working that spread eagle. And then goes to that cross body ride. Switches off there very nicely. Got to watch his own back and control. He's exposing his back very dangerously there and losing control. You've got to keep that leg in, and if you don't have it, you're in trouble. He recovers pretty well, though. He may lose control here, and if they go out of bounds, it could be a point for Freer.
Right now they're tied at 2 with 20 seconds to go here in the opening period. Again, the 145-pound weight class, and Freer's going to get 2 points off that. And he leads 4-2. Rahway in the red, white, and black. East Brunswick in the green and white for joining us late.
See, as an official, you always like to have a team wearing green and a team wearing red because you got those armbands. It makes it real simple. Doesn't confuse you.
You guys are really styling with those, too. You know, if you slid them up near the elbow area a little more, could look like Michael Jordan. Not exactly the look you're wanting in wrestling, I suppose, but fashionable nonetheless. First period gone by with Kolbeck trailing Matt Freer by the score of 4-2.
Can I have MJ's money when I do that?
Would you even know what to do with about 60 mil a year?
I'd like to find out if I could do it, though. I'd like to know how humble I could be. Just give me the opportunity. Matt Kolbeck on the bottom, down by 2 points here in the second period to senior Dan Freer. And Matt fighting his way up for a point, for an escape. Not holding back. Matt going after the takedown, being aggressive. And as a coach, you'd always rather see errors of commission than omission. So if he makes a mistake on that penetration, makes a mistake on the takedown, at least you know he's doing his job out there.
Always looking to limit those mental errors.
Nice work by Freer. Gets that dump.
Dan Freer with 2 more points, now leads 6-3.
Indians have been very good on their feet. They've gotten the takedown, that opening takedown in several of the matches, and have put East Brunswick in the hole in a number of bouts. When I coached, I always kept the statistic. That call of stalling was just hanging on to his legs with Matt up in the air like that. So again, a warning against Fred. Not so much that he wasn't doing anything, but by rule, pretty much a stall and an escape for Matt. When I coached, I used to keep a statistic of first takedowns because I really felt that was very important. My father, who wrestled back in the dark ages, always said those are 2 points you never get back. And while I'm sure you could get them back, the philosophy was, put the other guy on the defensive. Takedown for Freer as they are on the edge of the mat. He's got him locked in a cradle there. Matt trying to hang on there. Matt is around both of his legs, so he's not in too bad shape. I'm not sure he has back points coming to him yet. No, Ken Burnaby signaling that there were no back points. Freer gave up the cradle and was trying to go over bow and arrow. He's now got the Turk in there, lifting that inside leg. No count yet. He is indicating that he's still perpendicular.
We're going to run out of time here in the second period with Danny Freer from Rahway leading Matt Kolbeck by the score of 8-4. Kolbeck has his work cut out for him here in the final 2 minutes.
Freer on the bottom. Gets the navel right in there. Good stand-up by Freer and a good follow-through by Matt Kolbeck. That was a good little clinic, actually. That little flurry right there, the arch that Freer had coming up, and the wrist control there, but also the follow-up by Matt Kolbeck. You can replay that a couple of times and watch it. That was good form by both wrestlers. Freer gets the reversal. Kind of a little shaky control there, but enough to get the points.
Less than a minute to go. 10-4. Freer on top.
Matt's he's got the single. He's got to switch that to a double, but got his arm caught behind him now. I almost get the sense that Rahway likes to come out to the side, give the guy the opportunity to stand or at least back away, because they do work that upper body so well. The chancery move from the front. As a takedown by Matt Kolbeck. It is 10-7, down by just 3 points. 10 seconds to go. If he can get a tilt and get some points, we could take it to overtime. He broke the count, and he only gets the 2. And Glenn Pazinko is not happy about that. He had a 2 count, he popped up, the referee stopped the count, so instead of continuing on to a 5 count for the 3 points, he only gets a 2 and finished up on the short end of a 10-9 score.
I'll tell you what, that was a pretty good job by Kolbeck, though, to rally. He looked like he was in trouble there for a while.
It was a nice finish. The escape, the takedown, and then the back points in literally the last 20 seconds or so. But it nonetheless is 3 points for the Indians.
Showed some good character, too. The 152-pound weight class.
Tommy Petrusco for their Indians. And Ben Goddard for the Bears. Petrusco, again, one of the leaders. He's at 6-2 this year. 3rd place in the Hanover Park tournament. 2nd in the Rahway tournament. Last year, he finished up with a 21-4 record and 2nd in District 11. So one of the tough competitors for the Indians, and a leader on the team, a senior.
Early 2 points for Petrusco. He's up 2-0. Watching 2 seniors here, you really get a sense that or you can really notice, I should say, when two seniors are out there as compared to a pair of sophomores.
Much more under control, focused on their mission. Ben was a nice addition to the team last year. He and his family moved from Ohio, and his younger brother is wrestling in the rec program, Andrew. Nothing seems to fluster him. He's very much under control. He could be down 5 or 6 points. You might see a little bit of a concerned look on his face, but for the most part, he is very focused on what he's doing. And when you wear gold wrestling shoes, you better be good and better be focused on what you're doing. But a nice kid.
They take the wrestling pretty serious out in Ohio also.
Oh, yeah. I think it's still second to football in Ohio, but nice move by Petruska to just slough him past him for the takedown.
So 4-1 Petrusko now here with 20 seconds to go in the first period. Again, the 152-pound weight class.
He's got what we sometimes call that crazy leg in. Petruska does. With the leg through the inside of the crotch. And able to roll Ben through. He's going to be earning back points.
Three back points for Petrusko, who leads now 7-1.
Big first period for the senior from Rahway.
Most points in one period we've seen by any wrestler tonight. As we start the second.
Petruska starts off in the defensive position. Well, he's not the only one who does that shoulder roll. And has the Peterson. Gets the reversal.
A couple more points for Petrusko, who's up 9-1 now.
And Ben comes back with the Peterson and a reversal.
Make it 9-3 now, Petrusko. Good job by Goddard to hang in there.
It's interesting, back-to-back Peterson rolls to get the reversals for both wrestlers. When you use something low, you'd figure you'd defend it better, but that didn't happen there. Shoulder roll, good follow through by Ben. Nicely done, rolling over. Ken Burnaby looking for that full Nelson. Ben was coming up with both hands under the arms.
Another point for Petrusko. Makes it 10-3. Less than a minute to go, second period.
It's interesting. They earned the points on the side. Both wrestlers came right back to the center. They knew what they had to do, and they did not want to use the sideline as, or the circle as a the 12th man, so to speak. They're going to drive scorekeepers crazy here as they go back and forth with the takedown for Petruska and the escape by Goddard. I'm not sure if this is not an intentional escape just to let him get it, because, again, he's been very good on his feet. He's had 3 takedowns already in this bout. Petruska has. Shrugs, goes behind. Ben stops it. He's looking for a Peterson again if he can pull it off. He's got the inside leg hooked. Now he's trying to step over it. They're still neutral. Watch that arm. No change.
Run out of time in the second period. One more to go, 12-4. Petrusko from Rahway, leading Ben Goddard from EB.
Okay.
Goddard's got a little blood.
You might have heard Ken Burnaby, the referee, say blood 5 minutes. Just as with the injury timeout, there is a cumulative time for blood or to clean up a blood situation for each wrestler. They have 5 minutes over the course of the match total. If they can't stop the bleeding in that time, then the other wrestler would win. Unlike in the injury time, though, Gordon, they don't have a limit as to how many timeouts they can take. It's really up to the referee's discretion. So theoretically, if Ben had 3 or 4 times when that nose started, I think it's his nose, or he's started to bleed, they could stop it. They go off, but as long as the 5 minutes have not been used, they can continue. And you can see the student trainers. Phil Hostler has the trainer here at East Brunswick, has a crew of trainers. They can earn varsity letters for doing that, which is really a nice thing.
And they should.
They do a heck of a job. They're wearing the gloves, as you see in all sports today, with injuries involving blood, body fluids, for everyone's protection.
I think Goddard's got a little plug up there. Stop the nosebleed. So we head to the final period with Tom Petrusco leading Ben Goddard by the score of 12-4. Rahway in command overall.
They're just checking on the mat to see if any blood spilled out there, because that would have to be cleaned up before they could continue. Phil Hostler over in the corner taking a look, and it seems like they've got everything under control. Down by 8 points, Ben Goddard in the defensive position. Quick movement out. Tries that Peterson. They are coming around and trying to hook the inside leg and the arm, and he gets it, but enough for the reversal, but not enough to hold him down. 12-6 the score.
Based on what Goddard has done in the first 2 periods, and based on what Petrusco has shown you, what would you be saying to Goddard to try and do in the final period to get back in this?
He's got the same situation. You know, the Peterson move Peterson roll when he was on the bottom. At this point, he's just got to turn him over. He's got to get control. You certainly can't give him any more points. You can't give him a reversal in order to get the Peterson again. You put yourself too much in the hole. It's one thing if you're giving up an escape in order to get a takedown, but at this point, Ben just has to break him down. And again, based on what's happened, and certainly this is not necessarily the case with Tom Petrusco, there have been a lot of stalls on the part of Rahway wrestlers when they've had the lead. It's very possible that he could catch him, you know, napping, trying to hold on to his position.
Goddard's headgear comes off, gets tossed to the side. Minute to go, third period, 14-6 Petrusco.
At this point, they should stop the match to let Ben replace his headgear. At least I would. But then that's why I'm not doing the varsity match.
Now we'll let him have it back on.
Again, that's a referee's discretionary call. If there's no significant action, you can stop it. But again, Petrusco had Ben Goddard locked up pretty tight, flat on the mat. You don't want to take that advantage away from him, but yet you don't want the kid getting hurt or having an injury due to the headgear being off. 38 seconds in this final period. Ben with a good penetration on the single leg, but a good sprawl by Petrusco. Trying to get the angle and turn the corner.
Seconds to go.
And right now, Ben's got there's a big gap right now in the score. Teams were anyway. Ben's got to be careful of not giving up a major decision. He's down by 7. If he gives up another point or more, he could be giving up a 4-point decision to Rahway. But he will not.
14-7, Tom Petrusco from Rahway prevails in this one over Ben Goddard. That pushes Rahway's lead to 30-6 as we get set for the 160-pounders.
Gail Marshall and Gary Ronkowitz. I guess that's Gene Ronkowitz's physically and chronologically big brother.
Mm-hmm. 2 more seniors going at it here. A lot of experience on the mat the past couple of matches.
Gail has been in the program for a number of years, and he had an older brother who wrestled a few years back, Yannick. Gail, very tough kid. A lot of spirit, a lot of fight. Gary Ronkowitz, a little bit of an oddity in this Rahway lineup. He has a losing record. He is only 3-4 on the season. But again, you're still wrestling with a team that is a very powerful club. So That losing record could be deceptive. I don't want to let anybody think that Gail was wrestling a slouch here by any stretch.
.40 seconds gone by, period one. The 160s are still scoreless.
Well, earlier in the match, we were talking about kids feeling themselves out in that first period. These guys have not exactly been doing that. They've been just throwing things at each other constantly. Going at it hammer and tong, trying to get that head and arm. No feeling it out. I'm going to do this, and you better like it. Tried a fireman's carry. Did not quite pull it off. Didn't get in there deep enough. Not fast enough.
.30 seconds to go here in period number one. This is certainly the longest we've gone in a first period without a point being scored.
Yeah, they are just bouncing back and forth. If they don't get something real quick here, Ken Burnaby may call a stalemate and let them start over again, because they're kind of locked up and nobody's really going anyplace.
They're going to run out of time here in the first period.
Score was first.
Gary Ronkowitz and Gail Marshall tee it up for the second period.
Gary Ronkowitz liked it on his feet. He must have felt he had some opportunities there that he just didn't finish off, and takes the neutral position. Nice throw. Ronkowitz puts him over, and there are 2 points on his back as well.
A quick start to the second period for Ronkowitz, who's up now 4-0.
Well, he must have seen something that he felt he could do, or maybe Fred Stuber gave him a little bit of a point from the side. Very nice throw that he took Marshall over with. I'd say if there's a difference right now, it does seem like Gary Ronkowitz is just a little bit quicker than Gail, and that may be a big difference here. Gail is physically, looks like he's an equal there, but a little bit of quickness on the part of Gary Ronkowitz may be hurting Gail at this point.
Under a minute to go here in the second period. It's 4-1 Ronkowitz.
There's a stalemate, and they'll start it over again. Some kind of an injury to Gary Ronkowitz.
Ken Burnaby calling an injury.
He's going to use an inhaler. This is something that I know a number of people criticize. They are allowed, and at one time they could not do this, they are allowed to use inhalers for those conditions. There are a number of people that I know, including a couple people I know who are sitting in the stands tonight, who are very critical of that. They know how that adrenaline rush gets kicked in when you have that inhaler. And they really feel that the kids who do that, it may be a legitimate illness that they're taking care of, but they really feel that that's giving them a little bit of a pop to move ahead. And it's unfair to the other kid who is not getting that same physical rush. Now, one time that was not permitted. I'm not sure when it changed in the rules, but you go back 7 or 8 years, certainly it was not permitted to use an inhaler during a timeout. That would have been an unfair advantage, but the Rules Committee felt that at some point that was something that would be permissible.
I wasn't aware that there was actually an adrenaline that was received from it.
I'm not sure if you call it, it may not be adrenaline, that may not be the medical term, but several people that I know who have asthma and do use inhalers do feel that there's a definite physical rush that they get from using the inhaler, and they believe that that's really not a fair situation for a kid who's on the other end. I didn't think that Gary Ronkowitz needed anything to give him a kick because he was going at Gale pretty well. But obviously he was not breathing well.
Time winding down in the second period. Ronkowitz on top 4-1. Leading East Brunswick's Gale Marshall. Back to the center they go. 9 seconds to go.
That quick flurry at the beginning of this period, the only point scored by Gary Ronkowitz, and that has given him the lead that he still holds now as we go into the third period. 4-1. Gary Ronkowitz leading over Gale Marshall. Here at the 160-pound weight class, Gale Marshall taking the bottom position. There was a question, I guess, maybe as to who had choice, or maybe there's a question by Glenn Pazinko.
Pazinko at the scorer's table, as is the official Ken Burnaby. There's Glenn, the shirt and tie.
Not quite sure what that was about, Gordon. The optional start is going to be used, not to give him the points, just to get a different angle on the move, and that may be just exactly why he wanted to do it. Nice cross-chest throw. And again, that chancery that the Rahway wrestlers like. Gale Marshall gets the escape.
Marshall picks up a point, cuts the lead in half to 4-2.
Well, we started the second period off with those quick points, and then the rest of it was just as you're seeing it now, and we're now in the third period with a similar situation. Gale trying to get that either a barrel roll or a Peterson roll in there, but not quite quick enough to drive Ronkowitz across with it. Well, again, a Rahway wrestler getting hit with a stall, backing up, and Burnaby felt that was intentional. So a warning for stalling now against Gary Ronkowitz with just over a minute remaining here in the third period.
Under a minute to go in the third. Marshall looking to get back in, certainly tight enough where he can make a move and collect some points.
Absolutely, but at this point, he's either going to have to get out of bounds, which they do, or hopefully Ken Burnaby would have called a stalemate, but 43 seconds remaining. And it does look like Gary Ronkowitz is hurting a little bit.
Yeah, he's struggling.
Okay, we were talking earlier, there's a change now. That was the second timeout taken by Gary Ronkowitz. What will happen now is Gale Marshall will have the choice of whether he wants to go back to the center either on his feet as they were, or he can take the bottom position. If he feels he might be able to get an escape or a reversal, it will be his choice. And I have to admit, that's the first time I've seen that rule put into effect this year. We've noticed, as talking among officials, that there have not been a lot of timeouts taken by wrestlers, and I think that is a big factor that you're giving now an advantage to your opponent. Not only did you take a break for yourself, but now the idea was the other guy's going to have a chance to get something out of this.
So Ronkowitz takes a hit from the water bottle and the inhaler again, as we've seen him do for the second time in this match. Leading 4-2 over Gale Marshall from East Brunswick with 43 seconds to go in the final period.
And Gale is going to take the bottom. The idea being you can score points easier from the bottom than from the top. They were not doing much on their feet, and Gale had not been getting a takedown, so the idea here is possibly get the quick 2 points or get something out of this. Gale trying to backdoor perhaps. Close to it, and he gets, that's a reversal.
Now we're tied at 4.
So the new rule played in there, and the strategy used by Glenn Pazinko and Gale Marshall, putting him on the bottom when he had the choice, has worked to come up with a tie score, 4-4, with 27 seconds to go in the third period.
Good patience by Marshall.
Gotta hang on here.
Falling behind early in the second period. Slowly makes his way
Doesn't want
back
to give
in.
the escape, and it's a neutral though. Got to drive it. Good comeback by Gail Marshall. Gave up that escape with just about 9 seconds to go in the period for the deciding point. 5-4, Gary Ronkowitz defeating Gail Marshall at 160 pounds.
Certainly a thrilling finish to that one. Rahway picks it up by a point, though, and they now lead this 33-6. We move on to the 171-pound weight class. For East Brunswick, we're going to look at James Gagnott, sophomore. 4-2 on the season, and Rahway's going to bring out Mike Corso. Corso a junior, Gagnon the sophomore.
Jimmy came up last year and worked with the team as a freshman. Of course, here in East Brunswick, the freshmen are not in the high school building. But Jim, one of a tough kid, and finding himself here with that bear hug, turning Corso over.
Gagnon all over Corso early on.
He's a little bit high. He's got to lock that hold up a little bit tighter. Got to lift the head up. Lift up that inside arm, perhaps.
Corso hanging on for dear life.
On the toes there, Jim. Extend that right arm, lift the head. Bounce in there to try to drive him down. 1 minute to go, even.
It's been almost a full minute of this.
Jimmy is a little bit high, but he's still got control in there. Well, I'm not sure what's holding Corso up.
Gagnon putting on tremendous pressure and gets the win. Wow, I mean, from almost the first moment, he was all over Corso.
I said Jim is a tough kid. He's just very aggressive. And at 1 minute and 19 seconds, Jim Gagnon comes up with a fall for the Bears. Very aggressive, just as you said, Gord, from the get-go. Jimmy came out and just powered him in there. And over on the sideline, you can see Glenn Krasinko giving him a little bit of tutoring on the side. You missed a couple of opportunities there, Jim. You could have been done a lot faster than that.
So 6 points per EB. Rahway leads at 33-12. Move up to the 189-pound class. And for Rahway, it's senior Andy Roche. And for EB, we get a look at Tom Corio.
Again, here's another in the line of family members that you see in wrestling. Tom, the brother of Dan Corio, who wrestled a few years ago for the Bears. Roche comes in here with a 5-3 record for Rahway. And all 5 of those wins are pins.
Corio's been solid himself at 8-1. First in the Petty tournament. Was district champ. 3rd in the GMC last year. 2nd in the 100 in Central.
Now, there are a couple of kids that, here in the upper weights, that I think Glenn is very pleased with. Certainly when they came back against Edison in their first dual meet of the season, that's where it happened. They got off to a bad start down below, but just kept chipping away, and they really came back strong for their one in a loss, but in a very good finish. So the upper weights, while they're a little bit young and somewhat inexperienced in some areas, have been pretty tough. And Tommy Corio, an example of that here at 189 pounds.
About 45 seconds to go here in period 1. Still no score. Roche attacking the head.
Rahway is very physical, but you also see they're well schooled in the basics as well. Good position, good balance, aggression, quickness.
Eight seconds to go, first period, still no score. Tom Corio with his back to us against Andy Roche from Rahway. There's the end of one, no score.
Well, it seems we either have flurries of points in the first period or we go blank. And despite the 33-12 score, for the most part, a lot of the bouts have been pretty close, very competitive, tough fought contests. Corio with pretty good control as they get close to the edge of the mat. I think the referee did comment, keep wrestling, keep working. Tommy working at bar across the back. And again, trying that stack. Always a concern when a kid gets in that position. You're bringing the other man over onto his back, but you're also exposing yourself. And a lot of kids don't realize how far back they're going and how close their shoulders are to the mat. And while it doesn't happen too often, even the most experienced wrestler can get caught in that situation. And it's just, you think you pinned the guy, and all of a sudden you have the other guy's hand raised, and boy, that's a little deflating.
30 seconds to go, second period, still no score between Andy Roche and Tom Corio. Corio on top.
Tom is in pretty much control here, and you could say he's overpowering him, but there's no score, so you can't excuse the lack of action on the bottom. And I have a feeling that, considering what he's done so far, Ken Burnaby as the referee may be taking a close look at what's going on down there and maybe thinking about the warning. But
two periods gone by, no score.
Well, if you have to have no score and be in the third period, you want to be on the bottom, and that's where Tom Corio finds himself right now. The optional start. And interestingly, Rahway, again, I have not seen, there have been very few times when a Rahway wrestler took the optional start and gave the points. They simply want to have the angle. And a reversal for Tommy Corio.
So Corio up 2-0, 11 seconds into the third period.
Quick points there by Tommy. And when I wrestled Gordon, I was a lower weight, 136 pounds, about the most I wrestled. But I can't imagine, you're a heavyweight, or the upper weights, I should say, and your team can't win. You've got to go out there and really suck it up, just for yourself, for a matter of personal pride. Tommy has that the Turk and not a half, but trying to drive across the chest and the head. Could not turn him though. But saying again, as the upper weight, you really just have to go out there and say, look, I can't do anything to change the score and win this match for the team. But I can at least, have some pride in my own actions and do the best I can. And you're seeing Tommy Corio doing just that. A warning was issued against Andy Roche. Not a lot going on down there, I guess, according to the ref.
That's interesting when you consider sports like that where that happens. Swimming is another example. Tennis is one where you can actually go on and get set to do your individual thing knowing that there's no chance your team can win.
Well, a second stall called against Andy Roche gives a point to Tommy Corio, so he now has a 3-0 lead. It's very difficult when you have those individual sports and you might be coming up and there's just absolutely nothing to do. Track, I guess, it could be similar. Although I think most track runners and field event people, it almost seems like they don't really look at it so much as a team sport in the dual meets. I mean, in the meets, tournaments, yes, but not in the dual meet competitions. I think track people have a very different mindset than most of the others. A lot of individual keying up for whatever you have to do out there.
The point awarded to Corio for stalling. Is this the first point I think we've actually had so far?
No,
awarded for stalling?
There was the one back, I think, in, I guess it was in Nicky Nazo's match. That brought him close there.
Well, good job by Corio. He gets the win, 3-0. Well, Randy Roche.
And at 215 pounds, looks like sophomore Adam Fleischauer will be out for the Bears. Against Dan Garay. Head and arm by Garay. Points have not been awarded yet. Looked like he might have been inbounds when they got it, and he does get it there. Again, there's an example of that rule change where Garay's feet were inside, everybody was outside the circle, but the points were given to him for the takedown. Adam Fleischauer for the Bears, a sophomore. Adam was brought up too last year as a freshman, had a chance to fill in some spots there, did a nice job. Kind of a learning experience. And gets the escape.
Adam hanging in against a experienced wrestler like Dan Garay, even though only a sophomore. Boy, it's been in his blood for a long time.
You know, a 7-1 record as he comes into this match. So yes, a sophomore, but a sophomore with a lot of talent, and obviously
great
that
gene
blood,
pool.
the blood. Exactly.
Mentioned before, if you missed it, Dan Garay's older brother Antonio, state and national champ last year. Minute 15 to go, opening period, 2-1. Garay leading East Brunswick's Adam Fleischauer.
Well, Adam is certainly not intimidated by the name. He's just going right in there and taken down with that head and arm. There is no call yet for points for a takedown. I didn't see it. He must have given him because he signaled there were no back points, so there must have been a takedown there. I just didn't see the points awarded. There it is up on the board now. Adam coming out for the 1-point escape. Well, Adam's got to be careful now. He's going in there. He's got a little bit of a height disadvantage to Garay. He's not being hesitant. He's going right in there to tie up top, but that's exactly what Garay wants. He's been going with that head and arm and the throw, and he's going to try it again. In that situation, you know, Adam's getting caught there. He's got to drop his weight down to take that that hip heist away from Garay. I think Adam got the wind knocked out of him when they went to the mat that time.
I think he got his own elbow in his own ribs.
Got to watch that knee. Okay. And a takedown. Tying the score at 4.
Good job by Fleischauer to come right back. 15 seconds to go, first period. Two points for Garay.
Sorry. And the near full points as well.
Just when we had a 4-4 match, suddenly Garay explodes for 5, make it a 9-4 contest. So we end the first.
Adam got a little bit careless there, came up a little bit too high. Again, the little bit of the height advantage and just the leverage Garay used very well. Garay is at 215. Garay is a little bit more lanky than Adam is. Adam's a little more stocky. So you have to be a little more cautious with how your weight is is used. Takedown on the edge of the mat. And then the escape given by Garay. Obviously, he feels he can pick up those points easily and quickly. And you can see he goes right for it again. That's a tough call right there, because you saw Adam land pretty hard out there. And there are a number of, it's a judgment call by the referee. Is he taking him down under control? That head and arm is a great move. If it's a very physical move. It gives you that 5-point, the takedown, bang, right to the mat, to your back. But it can also be dangerous if you don't have that guy under control, if you don't take him across your hip, if you don't come down carefully enough, and you end up slamming him. That could be the match right there.
(11-5), Garay on top here with 1:04 to go, second period.
Oh, Adam getting a warning for stalling, backing up a little bit. I think if you've been taken down that way as many times right now, or the way Garay's going after him, I'd be a little more cautious myself about going in there. But you can't take away the offense from Garay either, so you have to give that warning. Garay with his hands locked around Adam's back. Adam breaking the hold. 33 seconds here in the second period. Adam Fleischauer for the Bears, down by 6 to Rahway's Dan Garay. I'll give Adam a lot of credit. He is not backing off. He did get the warning for backing up a little bit there, but he's not staying away from him. He's going right after him. He's ready to mix it up. Well, a second warning against Adam Fleischauer for stalling gives Dan Garay his 12th point of the bout. And once again, we're in a situation where Dan Garay is just a point away from creating a 4-point major decision margin.
Here's the end of 2. Garay leading 12-5.
Adam Fleischauer chooses the defensive position for the beginning of the third period, down by 7, and a need to get some points. Again, that optional start, but not for the purpose of giving them the points to go back on their feet. Simply an opportunity to get a little bit of an angle. You don't see that very often. Most of the time when they do that optional start, which is that creating the diamond with their hands and letting him go, it's for the purpose of giving the other man the 1 point quickly so that you can come back and take him down. But as a strategy, as a move, Rahway wrestlers are using that just to gain the advantage for the angle and to get a jump on their opponent.
Garay losing the headgear there. He's going to have to make an adjustment. 1:24 to go. Final period, 33-15. Rahway leading this overall. And right now, Garay is doubling up Fleischauer, 12-6. 215-pound weight class.
You wonder how much pressure is on a kid like Dan Garay, or it's the cousin, John, up at the heavy at 275. To compete on the same level as the champion in the family, Antonio. Takedown for Dan Garay as the clock comes down under a minute. Now you have a name like that, just as in Edison, if you had a name like Nisavacia or in Oldbridge, Doherty, or oh gosh, my mind just went blank. I can't think of the other family over there that's had so many kids wrestle. But you know what if pressure is on you when you have older brothers who have been champions, for you to get in there and do the same thing.
Yeah, it can really work to the extremes in both scenarios. And you can become much better, or you may just absolutely dislike it altogether.
Garay forcing that upper body move, taking Adam Fleischauer over, across the neck, but legally. 24 seconds. Oh, and that is the end of the end of the match with a fall by Dan Garay. A pin at 5:37 over Adam Fleischauer. Adds 6 points to the Indians' total. And they take a 39-15 lead over the Bears. And it brings us to the final match of the night at 275. For the Bears, Dennis Bruno. And for the Indians, is that John Garay?
John Garay.
John Garay. Cousin John.
Undefeated this season, a 4-0. Champ of the Rahway tournament. And the most beef you can find.
That's it.
There's some big boys out here.
Well, Dennis is another kid who's come through the rec program, had some very good success down there. I think as a sophomore, he's learning a little bit about what it's like on the high school level. It's a little bit different than wrestling in the middle school or at the on the rec level. And again, he's not a tall fellow too. He's got the weight, but certainly not very big. And you look at John Garay, how much taller he is. So again, you have got that height differential that can be somewhat of a disadvantage to a shorter, stockier wrestler. Doing a quick review as Dennis Bruno's wrestling here. The Bears only winning 3 matches so far tonight. They won the first bout at 103 pounds with Keith Richings, a 3-0 decision. They got their next win at 130 pounds when Chris Yanazzo moved up and beat Jamil Frazier 10-5, and then it was not until 171 pounds as the Indians racked up some points in the middleweights when Jim Gagnon at 171 pinned in 1 minute and 19 seconds, and that has brought us to this 39-15 score we have right now with about 48 seconds remaining in the first period at 275. Dennis Bruno for the Bears and John Garay for the Indians. Well, you've got 2 big guys out there bouncing off of each other, and Ken Burney says, you know, something's got to happen here.
He accused them both of stalling.
And that's it happens when you, and I think it happens more so, and this is not to demean the big guys, but I think it happens more with these guys because they're kind of lumbering out there, and it doesn't look like they're doing very much. I criticize Darryl Strawberry for never running hard. I think it was just long strides. It's the same thing with these guys. They may be moving, but a point has been given to John Garay. Both wrestlers with a warning. Now Dennis Bruno with a second call against him for a point.
Ten seconds to go first period with Garay up 1-0.
One nothing score. John Garay over Dennis Bruno, and Dennis taking the defensive position in the second period. Bears get back into conference competition again when they tackle Piscataway on the road in a few days, and they're looking to get their second conference win if they can do that. This is a non-conference win with the Indians coming out of the Watchung Conference. flurry of activity by Dennis Bruno, and he gets the escape. A rather unartistic looking escape, but nonetheless the points are there.
It's not how, it's how many, right?
That's it.
1-1. Just over a minute to go, second period.
I'll always take that ugly W. Dennis had the opportunity there, lifted that arm up, just didn't follow through on it. You know, as an official, you're looking at two guys out there. It's 1-1. You've already banged one guy for a point, and I think he's talking to him right now. He said, "Guys, we got to get some action in here. Enough with the pushing and tugging. How about some points?"
Dennis Bruno representing a real threat to John Garay's unblemished record on the season.
Well, right now it looks that way.
Tied at 1, 10 seconds to go, second period.
Just a few seconds left here in the second period. 1-1 is the score. Garay will have choice in the third period, and I would imagine he might take the bottom again with the idea that to come up for a point, and considering the way this match is going, 1 point might win it.
Gotta like Glenn Pazinko offering the hands-on demonstration with an assistant coach as to what he wanted. That was terrific. Bruno looked over for a second, and Pazinko got into it with the assistant coach, trying to show him what he wanted him to do.
I'll tell you, wrestling coaches, I think, are probably the most demonstrative of any coach on the sidelines, because they're actually wrestling with you out there, and they're twisting and turning, and as you just said there, Gordon, they're actually showing you the move if necessary on the side. I once had a kid on the freshman level who had a kid down on his belly, and he looked at me with this empty expression on his face, and I just kind of demonstrated, push down his head, and the kid pushed his head down. I said, come under the arm, and he put his arm on it. I said, now drive him over, and he pinned him. But it was, you know, not a very experienced wrestler, and you can get away with it at that level anyhow. But I think wrestling coaches are very, very prone to do that. Dennis Bruno unable to maintain control, and the escape for John Garay rather. That stalling call against Bruno now costly, as he's down 2-1.
Still lots of time. Minute 20 to go in the third. Ken Burnaby points him back to the center.
Well, again, both wrestlers have been warned for stalling, and unless there's some action, Ken was talking to him, and he may just again, you know, he may bang Garay for a stall in here if there's no significant action. And that is a judgment call by an official.
Minutes ago. The thing I like about Pazinko is here his team has no chance of winning, but still coaching even in the final bout.
Oh, I think you're going to find that certainly with Glenn, and I think it can be very depressing as a wrestling coach, but I think most wrestling coaches do have that mindset. You're still looking at the individual, and there's always a learning experience out there, and I think you know, you like to talk about coaches as teachers, and Glenn certainly is that, and he's constantly teaching the kids and trying to refine what they're doing out there, and you know, you have to respect that very much, because they're looking out for the interest of the kids. Well, they've both given a stalling again, both got a stalling call again, and a point again for both wrestlers, which I know to some people may seem like an empty gesture, but
10 seconds to go. Dennis Bruno still down by 1.
And that looks like how it's going to end. Three to 2, John Garay over Dennis Bruno at the 275 weight class. which puts the final score at Rahway 42 and the Bears 15.
So that'll drop Rahway's, or rather East Brunswick's mark to 1-3 on the season, and Rahway improves to 3-0. Bob Cancro, good working with you.
Nice working with you, Gordon. Pleasure.
I'm Gordy Deal. We'll see you next time here on Channel 8.